Praise Jesus and bless you, Christian Life Calling Fellowship. There's a storm here, so it might interrupt us. I hope not. We'll see. I want to chat with you a minute about where your mind is at. The Scripture says in New Living Translation in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn how to know what God's will is for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. I was chatting with someone that I've tried to be a blessing to for many years a few moments ago, and they were describing to me what I'd been praying about for some time, that where their brain was, they tended to be also, and that when they were feeling unconstructive and unable to deal with things, then their environment seemed to look like that too, that the unhealthy things in their brain seemed to manifest itself in their life. and how true that is. And also the converse, fortunately for us as believers, is true, that whenever we're allowing the Spirit of the living God to transform us, to teach us, to nurture us, to train us in the way that we should go, then our circumstances, at least the way we generate them, tend to reflect that. We have more healthy outlooks. We have more healthy performance. We have more constructive ways of dealing with things. Sometimes, and this is hard to say, but I believe it's true, that I've been called to go through difficult things. I could tell you a list, and my life has been particularly difficult. Near-death episodes and on and on and on. I don't really want to get into all that right now, but as I look at it, I can actually look back on most of those extremely difficult episodes now with some gratitude, because in time I have learned to turn me over to God through those episodes. And no matter what you go through, if your brain is plugged into Jesus, then Jesus is going through that circumstance with you, and if not the circumstance itself, the way you deal with that circumstance will begin to look like Jesus. And that's why the Scripture tells us here, don't copy the behavior and customs of the world. No matter what's thrown at you, give it to Jesus. Give yourself to Jesus. Respond in the way that Jesus would have you to, and not just what the world would want or what your internal feelings say. And the Scripture goes on to say that if you don't copy the customs of the world, then God can transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think. What a glorious thing. That means that difficult circumstances, hard experiences, tough stuff that we have to go through in our life can't get us down, because the one who can't be brought down lives inside us. You see, when Jesus rose from the dead and the power of resurrection caused him to come out of that grave and he ascended to the right hand of the Father, then what he was really saying is, I can live in you with this resurrection life today. It doesn't matter whether the circumstance is good or bad or tough or easy. Either way, we need to let this living Christ and his resurrection power and his resurrection mind live in us and through us. And then what's going on in us will become clearer in our life and in our heart. If you want to change your external circumstance, change your internal outlook. Look at things differently and they'll be differently. I don't necessarily mean that the circumstances will be different. In time they will. But no matter what you're going through, if you're looking through the eyes of Jesus, you're going to have a healthy, constructive, upbeat, living, vital, transformative way of looking at that experience. And it'll teach some people, and it'll help some people, and it'll nourish some people, and it'll train some people. It'll disciple people into seeing Christ and how he can also change their lives no matter what they're going through. Because the ultimate thing of this Scripture says, then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. You see, I believe that was the message of Paul and Silas in that prison cell. Yeah, I do. That they were in the dirtiest place in town, in the worst squalor, in the worst circumstance. They had been beat, and it was a horrific reality they were having to go through, and they still sang hymns of joy. You think they felt joyous? Heck no. But they were determined to let the living God live through them in that experience, no matter how tough it was. And yes, it changed all the experience, and they were literally delivered from those chains because of their joyful outlook. So no matter what you're going through, let Jesus go through it with you. It may not change your external circumstances, but it'll change you, and that changes everything. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Praise be to Jesus. I love you each one, and I'm praying for you. This is Pastor Tim.